Okay, everyone, it's time for custom card reviews. Sorry for that, I've just always wanted to try that. Everyone's second favorite custom card review channel. I'm not sure if there are other custom card review channels, but, you know, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be the most popular one if there were others. So, in this one, I'm going to be going over a Time Wizard custom card archetype. It seemed interesting. So first I'll show you guys what Time Wizard is. Wow, this is a small copy of the card. It's a card which was used by one of the main characters in the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime. It's a gamble card. You toss a coin, and if you call it right, you destroy all your opponent's monsters. But if you call it wrong, you destroy all of your monsters, and then you take damage equal to half of their attack. So, you know, very win more card. Not very good, like not even in like gamble decks, because his stats are kind of bad, and you have to normal summon it. Funny enough, I know this because in Duel Links, in the earlier seasons of it, a gamble deck was actually top tier. And in that deck, sometimes they'd run one copy of Time Wizard, because Time Wizard existed, but they rarely run it because its attack stats sucked. Like, sure, it could destroy our opponent's monsters, but then what? You know, you wouldn't have anything on board to actually do damage. You would just have a crappy 500 attack, you know, beater would die on your next turn as soon as your opponent summoned any monster. Which I thought was funny, you know, considering how broken this card was in the anime where, you know, based on plot reasons, he could always win the coin toss. I don't know if the coin toss ever didn't result in his favor in some way. Anyways, let's look over the cards. First up, we have Million Dragon. It's a dragon fusion monster, which requires the materials of Time Wizard plus Thousand Dragon. So, Thousand Dragon is the name of the fusion monster that requires Time Wizard and Baby Dragon, and has no effect. It's just a 2400 attack fusion monster that requires those two materials. So, you're not really missing much with me not showing it to you. Anyways, let's see its effect. Cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's trap effects. Once per turn, when this card is destroyed by battle or card effects, you can special summon 1000 Dragon from your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. What? Cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's trap effects. Okay. Weird immunity to have. Once per turn, when this card is destroyed by battle or card effects. Once per turn, it can float. Okay. That's fine. And you can special summon 1000 Dragon from your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. That part is redundant. You can just special summon it from the graveyard if it was brought out properly. And if it wasn't brought out properly, then you can't destroy it. And you can't special summon it, even if you try to ignore its summoning conditions. So, like... Alright, let's go into the next one. I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's fine. It's fine. It's not bad. You know, its materials requiring a fusion monster. Kind of weird. Maybe there's a card like Lunalight Fusion, which lets you use fusion monsters from your extra deck. And that's why it's trying to, you know, special summon 1000 Eyes, ignoring its summoning conditions. Because they are aware that it wasn't brought out properly. Even though it doesn't work that way. Next one, we have Billion Dragon. Well, that's a really old looking dragon. So it has Time Wizard plus Million Dragon. So the previous card we just saw. Cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Alright, that's good protection. Once per turn, when this card is destroyed by battle or card effects, special summon 1 Million Dragon from your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. Again, Million Dragon doesn't have... Million Dragon doesn't have any restrictions on the card itself, which would prevent, you know, a summon. So it doesn't need the effect of ignoring its summoning conditions. It can just say it special summons Million Dragon from the graveyard. No, that's fine. Maybe they were under the assumption that you could bring out... I mean, because you can just use, like, Beast King of the Swamp as a fusion substitute for Million Dragon, so it's easy to bring out. And its protection is good. You know, on a 3700 attack beater, you know, untargetable, undestroyable, that's pretty good. There are other ways to get rid of it. You can just kaiju it, and its floating effect only procs when destroyed. So, you know, it's a balanced card. Let's just go on to this next one. The Wizard's Horologist. Horologist. I don't know how to say that. It's a level 3 spellcaster with 1000 attack, 1400 defense. Does it just have double the attack and defense of Time Wizard? No, Time Wizard has 400 defense. So it has double the attack and just 1000 more defense. Okay, whatever. Not important. Let's look at its effect. Once per turn, during your main phase 1, you can target one Time Wizard in your graveyard. Activate its effect. And if you do, shuffle it into the deck. If you correctly call the coin cost from that effect of Time Wizard, while you control this monster, draw one card. That's a neat idea, except it doesn't have a way to bypass its terrible negative effect, where it would destroy itself. I guess that's why Million and Billion Dragon had effects where they floated on destruction, just in case Time Wizard, once per turn when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, even though it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Oh, okay, so that's there so that Time Wizard can destroy it. Okay, and if you call it right, you get to draw a card. Only problem with this card, its stats suck. It's really bad. Its stats are really bad. The effect itself, allowing you to use Time Wizard's effect in the graveyard, and then drawing a card if you get it right, that's good. That's pretty good. The problem is its stats are really bad. 1000 attack, 1400 defense. If you use this as a combo extender or something, I guess, but what combo are you trying to extend in a Time Wizard deck? Give it 1900 attack. There's no reason it should have, just 1000. That's super bad. Give it actual good stats to be worth using on the field, and I think that just makes it a lot better as it is now. There's not really a reason to play this card over Time Wizards because their stats are equally terrible. But it does give you more Time Wizard-like effects, so I guess, it works in that regard. Let's go over to the other cards to see, if they offset Time Wizard's effect. So next we have CLOCKWORK Fusion Zone. It's a field spell card. Once per turn, when the effect of a Time Wizard is activated, and you call that coin toss correctly, you can negate the effect. And if you do, monsters your opponent controls lose 900 attack and defense. What? When the effect of a Time Wizard is activated and you call the coin cost correctly, so instead of destroying them, you can reduce their attack and defense by 900. Let's see what else this is doing. Then all face-up monsters you control that are listed as materials in addition to Time Wizard for fusion monsters to your whoa. Then all face-up monsters you control that are listed as materials in addition to Time Wizard for fusion monsters in your extra deck gain the following effect. Okay, so if a monster is a fusion monster which has the materials of Time Wizard, then they'll gain the following effects in your extra deck? Am I reading that correctly? All phase-up monsters you control that are listed as materials addition, your fusion monsters in your extra deck. I think it's giving monsters in your extra deck an effect. Tribute this card. Special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that lists Time Wizard, and this tributed card as material, ignoring its summoning conditions. Oh boy, this has confused me. This happens sometimes when I'm reading these cards, but this one, I legit don't know what this is saying. I'm gonna have to triple read this. Monsters your opponent controls lose 900 attack and defense. Okay, that's simple. Then, all phase-up monsters you control that are listed as materials in addition to Time Wizard for fusion monsters in your extra deck. What? Gain the following effect. Tribute this card. Special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that lists Time Wizard, and this tribute card as material. What? Tribute. Okay, so I'm going to assume the monsters on the field gain this effect. Now let's go from that assumption. You can tribute this card to special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck. Okay, sounds easy. That list Time Wizard. And this tributed card as material. Okay, ignoring its summoning conditions. Okay, I think I got it. I think I finally got it. So, because the previous, fusion monsters ranked up into each other, basically, this is what this card allows it to do. It allows you to rank up, 1,000 Dragon into Million Dragon, and then rank up Million Dragon into Billion Dragon. Bringing them out, ignoring their summoning conditions. Instead of ignoring the summoning conditions, you could just say, this special summon is treated as a fusion summon. That way it's brought out properly, and you don't have to worry about ignoring summoning conditions, because you don't need to ignore their summoning conditions to bring them out from the extra deck. That's not how it works. You can cheat stuff out of the extra deck just as long as it doesn't say, it must require a special type of special summon. It's bringing them out from the graveyard or a banish zone that's the problem. If they're not brought out properly, then you can't special summon them from those zones. Even if they ignore the summoning conditions, you still can't bring them out. But you can bring them out from the extra deck. So, I think I get what this card's doing. I think I finally figured it out. It was confusing. That's probably because, it's a confusing effect. Basically what it does is when you use Time Wizard and you call the effect correctly, you can negate that effect. And then this card will gain its effect. And then this card's effect is you permanently lower the attack and defense of all your opponent's monsters by 900. Which I think is a reference to the anime where Time Wizard did something like that. And then, if you control, like one of the Time Wizard fusion monsters, it will gain a new effect where it contributes itself to special summon, the ranked up version of itself from your extra deck. 1,000 into million, million into billion, and then it ignores its summoning condition, which it doesn't need to do. Instead, treat it as a fusion summon. There we go. Effect fixed. Okay. Whew, that was hard. Next one. Dedication to CHRONOS. Banish one spellcaster type monster from your hand or field. Add one Time Wizard from your deck to your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Wait. Let me slow down a bit. If I just read through all this, I'm probably going to forget. So, banish one spellcaster type monster from your hand or field to add a Time Wizard from your deck to your hand. Okay, kind of a steep cost, but searching out a specific card. Let's see what the rest of this card does. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target one Time Wizard in your graveyard. Shuffle it into the deck. You can only activate one effect of Dedication to CHRONOS per turn, and only once per turn. So, it lets you search out Time Wizard and return Time Wizard from your graveyard into your deck for no other advantage. Alright. Not very good. It allows you to search out Time Wizard. That's about it. At a big cost. You have to go -1 in order to search them out. And it doesn't special summon it, it just searches it out. And its graveyard effect cycles Time Wizard back into your deck, which, based on, the monster card, the Wizard's HOROLOGIST, you don't want to do that. So, let's go on to the last card. Dragon Reversal Potion. It's a quick play spell card. Reveal one spellcaster type monster in your hand to target one dragon type monster you control. Its name becomes Baby Dragon while on the field. That's all it does? Reveal one spellcaster in your hand to change the name of specifically a dragon type monster you control to Baby Dragon? Okay. Baby, if it lets you send a spellcaster type monster from your deck to the graveyard, instead of just revealing one in your hand, and it allows you to target any monster you controlled, and then also had a graveyard effect to do something else, then it might be useful. As it is now, that's not very good. These are, they're very thematic. I think this kind of falls into that thing. There's some people who they really try to fit a theme for their deck without really thinking about the playability of it. So, with that in mind, let's go into the grading scale. Now, for my grading scale, I'm not sure if I should give you guys, how I grade these things, but, I do give it points based on 3 criteria. point number 1 is power. Is the card too strong or too bad? I'd say this one falls squarely into the mediocre levels of power. It's not terrible. Like, it's definitely not something that's trying to make you lose, you know. They're not actual bad cards. They're just really mediocre when it comes to the power scale. They're kind of underpowered. They might do better in like the earliest version of Yu-Gi-Oh! So on the power scale, I'd have to just give it a 1. And for creativity, these are very thematic spells. Like, everything in here is incredibly thematic. It tries to fit thematic to a T. And it fits that theme, you know, all the Time Wizard stuff. That being said, you know, that's it. The effects themselves aren't super creative. You know, I think like creative as in the card's trying to do something wholly unique. That field spell card's definitely trying to do something unique, so, you know, I gotta give it points for that. So the creativity, you know, I'd probably give it 2 points in that. 2 points out of 3. And then viability, not at all viable, you know, 0 points. So the grading scale would come up to, you know, actually, what is that? 3, 3, and 4. Yeah, that's the 10 points. You know, I thought they were cool though. I thought they were cool to an extent, so I'll give them a bonus point. And to that, we'll give the Time Wizard archetype a 4 out of 10. You know, kind of underpowered. They don't really solve the main problem of the deck. That Time Wizard is a really weak card, and it doesn't do anything about its negative effect. None of the effects have anything to do with, you know, what if you land tails? Like, I kept expecting to see that. Like, one of the cards, you know, you can banish this card from the graveyard if Time Wizard's effect is tails, you know, make it heads instead. Or at least, you know, like, retoss the coin. No, none of that. So, not very playable. It is very thematic, though. You know, it's definitely fit in a theme, which is a valuable thing when it comes to these custom cards. So, 4 out of 10. Not half bad. It took a lot of big brain power in order to comprehend what that field spell card was trying to do, though. Okay. So, before I end this off, I'll do one one-off card review. I've actually been getting some more of these. So let's see, which one of these... Oh, here we go. I almost forgot. Hard Like Joe sent me another one. We'll go over this one. It's called the Madness Serpent. It is a rank 1 monster. It's a flip effect rank monster. Wow, those don't exist. Requires 2 or more level 1 monsters. And you can X-Seed summon this monster in face down defense position. Alright, that makes sense considering it is a flip monster. And its flip effect is, take control of all monsters your opponent controls, up to the number of X-Seeds material attached to this card. Huh, that's really good. I'm trying to like look at it because there are some cards, you know, which allow you to take control of your opponent's cards as flip effects, except they have like this hidden ruling. There's this thing with flip effect monsters where the flip effect doesn't take place until after damage calculation. So technically the card will already be destroyed when the effect is going off. And that's why some flip effects don't activate. You know, like Parasite, for example. It needs to be alive in order to be shuffled into your opponent's deck, even though it is a flip effect monster. So if your opponent attacks into it and destroys it, you know, once the card is already destroyed, then the flip effect activates. And by then it's too late to shuffle the card into your opponent's deck. So there are some flip effect monsters that need to be alive in order for their effects to take place. And most of those are like cards which take control of your opponent's cards, like Dummy Golem. As a prime example, its effect is swap control this card with one of your opponents. But the card needs to be on the field to swap control in order for its effect to take place. This one doesn't have that though. It's just take control of monsters your opponent controls up to the number of X-Seed material attached to this card. Since it has such low stats, it will get destroyed. But I don't know if it will count how many X-Seeds materials it has if it's destroyed though. Like if the card is destroyed, you know, when this effect takes place, and it's technically still in the field, just hasn't gone to the graveyard yet. Does it count the amount of Exceeds material on this card? I think you would have to account for that, because as it stands right now, I think it could reasonably be argued that since this card is destroyed, it doesn't have Exceeds materials, so it doesn't take control of anything. So in that case, this card would need to survive the battle in order for its flip effect to take place. Although, you know, it could also be, it'll just count them anyway, because it's technically not in the graveyard yet. So I don't know. Interesting card. There are no flip effect Exceeds monsters. There's no flip effect any extra deck monsters. So this would cause some ruling problems. I have no idea how those would resolve. So, you know, good on you for having a very unique card, Hard Leg. You're always sending those ones in. People are still arguing about the last one you sent in. Lots of people misunderstanding how Creature Swap works. Here's a little advice for you guys. If a card says it's immune to card effects, then Creature Swap doesn't work on it. Okay, so that's the end of the video. If you want to send me custom cards, send them to my Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, make a Twitter. I don't accept custom cards for anywhere else. If you want to, you know, talk about custom cards with other people who love custom cards, there is a Discord for it. It's called Custom Card Formats. I'll have a link for it in the video description if you want to join a Discord with other like-minded, you know, custom card connoisseurs.